Anathar, Sword of Power. Anathar is the most powerful of the swords of those ancient blades. It holds the power of all the other swords of the ancients combined. Anathar's blade is an incredible. Anathar's blade be a bitchin'. So friends, I'm going to tell you about the coolest sword ever. Anathar. What's Anathar? This is fucking Anathar. Anathar's made by Kid Rae. Who's Kid Rae? Fuck you, you don't know who Kid Rae is. Anathar is the sword of power. It rules over all the other swords, like Sauron's ring, or some other thing. I don't know. Anathar's power can't be contained. For no one in this world can you trust, Faith Man. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust. It's a sword.
And you need therapy, not swords. You have trust issues. That's why Mom left you.
I was swinging Anathar earlier, and its power couldn't even be contained by the silly plastic handle that it's made from. Anathar, Sword of Power. This, my YouTube friends, is the Sword of Anathar. Made by Kid Rae, or at least designed by him. Stamped out by some machine in Taiwan. It's the most amazing sword there ever was. Why? Look at all those fucking spikes. It's got runes on it that look like ruins. It's also the strongest sword imaginable. Hear that? Yeah, that dull thud can chop through a tank. Yeah. Oh. Well, it just kind of exploded in my hand. That's not good. That hurt a lot. Alright, what just happened? Nothing good. Only a small amount of blood. The Sword of Anathar is so powerful that if you use it, it explodes in your hand. That's how much power it contains. It takes all of the force of breaking a tree and just puts it right in your hand and breaks the handle out of power. I whacked this into a tree. Surprisingly, it didn't cut the tree down, but more surprisingly, it did break in half. Look at how big this sword is. It's so big and it's inscribed with runes that mean things like Anathar and power. Observe how amazing it is when I swing Anathar at things. Actually, it'd probably be more effective like this. I think the main point is, though, who needs a sword that's good when you can have a sword that's big and imposing and scary looking in your basement to people that don't know a lot about swords? Anathar, more dangerous like this than like this, unless the danger is to yourself because it hurts if you actually hit anything with it. But Anathar... I didn't learn to whistle very well. Anathar. Deadly. See how it fucked the ground up? Why is this the coolest sword ever? People always ask. Well, hang on. Anathar's power's too much. Gotta straighten the power back out here. But, hang on. We can re-Anathar this. Okay. Now, why is this the best sword ever? Many people are going to ask. Well, the simple fact. Anathar, the sword of power. The sword meant to rule all the other swords of presumably less power. Well, this one, so powerful it blows up in your hand when you strike anything. Dynamically it rattles with power, just the way power should power. And if you throw it at a tree and miss, and it touches the ground well, the handle bends with power. Let's throw it at that tree one more time, see how we do. We missed the tree again. Anathar's pretty good. Okay. Well, where are we at here? So much goddamn power here. Anathar. One more time at the old tree of woe. Well, that just looked really cool. See, Anathar's power is all in melee combat. It's not in ranged. I think that's how the brochure said it. Also, it cut my hands off. Nice. Check out how Anathar is fucking powered into that tree. Well, Anathar is super powerful. Its power can't be contained by its handle. I find it very odd that Anathar's blade is still quite straight, but all of the shock seems to be absorbed by this handle. Anathar's power is so strong that when striking, even Anathar can't contain it. That actually went in surprisingly far. I didn't expect that to happen. Anathar's power can't be contained by mortal men's hands. That's what I've proved here today.
Anathar, kicker of asses, taker of names. Have you ever wanted a sword bedazzled with skulls for less than $200 that later was worth tens of dollars? Anathar, 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 Anathar. Peekaboo. What do these holes do? They're speed holes that make the sword go faster. Peekaboo. Ooh. Why aren't there runes on this side? Because Anathar only needs one side. Ruins. The blade is so sharp it can cut through my bare hands if I press really hard, which I'm totally not doing. And the tip so pointy that if I do this, it would totally go through me if I did it more. Harder. Anathar.
In all fairness, though, if you do like sword-like objects or wall hanger type art that looks like sword or fantasy-esque pieces, just know, I suppose, that one, this really isn't meant for use. It's not sold that way, so I suppose I don't really have any gripes about it or the company that sells it or the fact that it exists, because it's priced at a price that seems to be appropriate for something that is cast in limited quantities and has to be sold and have a markup and all of that kind of stuff. The point is, though, that it's not really a sword in the strictest sense of a weapon. It's more likely to hurt you than somebody else, and the fact that I whacked it into something, it didn't cut it and kind of split apart and made me bleed a little bit is, I suppose, a testament to that. Though, in fairness, it's not that it wouldn't hurt if you hit somebody with it or that you couldn't sharpen it and potentially do something with it. It's just not intended to. And yeah, the construction of this handle, I suppose, goes to show that. The point is, though, that there's a lot of other things that make this sword not a great sword. If I were to make the sword made of a more robust material that is supposed to be better for sword making, in order to change the tang construction around so that it didn't break apart with some minor use, it would still be a mostly cylindrical handle, which isn't great for indexing. The proportions of the sword are still kind of grotesquely off. It's similar to the Conan sword in that it rattles my hand even when it hadn't fallen apart, and it's not really a well-portioned or balanced sword, as cool and imposing as it might be. Also, this pommel, as decorative and adorned and pretty as it might be, really isn't all that great for grabbing and holding. It actually hurts your hand when you try to swing it around. The ricasso area and the quillins here, in embellishment, are probably the most practical. At least they're in a spot that is appropriate. These little peekaboo holes, I don't know that they do anything good or bad, but they're all right. And this larger ricasso section for half sorting, I suppose, makes appropriate that this handle is kind of a hand and a half grip. You can potentially grab the actual blade here and use it to get a little bit more purchase. That said, the dynamics of the sword are just wonky and don't feel very good in the hand. It's not supposed to be, so I shouldn't measure it on those merits. But anyway, I suppose the point is, if you like these things, have at it. Just, they're not, I don't know that they're really swords in the strictest sense. They're sword-like objects, and for art, they're cool. For use, they're bad. Anyway, as always, cheers, and thanks for watching. Anathar.
Maybe you could use Anathar to help you cook. It's the best sword ever. Look at it. Spiky. Glorious.
I don't know what's worse. You pitching me another garbage sword, or that you don't live here anymore.
One of those really hurts.